the Ultimate Fighting Championship. The toughest no-holds-barred martial arts tournament on the planet is back in the Ultimate Force. Tonight, in the main event, opposites collide. It's power and will versus speed and skill. As Tank Abbott, the street fighter who loves to brawl, meets Vitor Belfort, the Carlson Gracie disciple with fists of fury. Abbott hits like a sledgehammer. He's hard to hurt, and he's got no love for the boys from Brazil. But Belfort, the grappler with incredible hand speed, says this is the fight he's been training for all his life. Belfort not only wants the win, he wants to uphold his country's honor. This time, it's personal. Also tonight, the battle to find the top contenders in the heavyweight and lightweight divisions. The Ultimate Fighting Championships, Ultimate Force. The Inferno just got hotter. Augusta, Georgia, a city rich in history, charm, and tradition. Clark Hill Lake, the largest man-made lake east of the Mississippi. This wide-awake, beautiful, and progressive city is easy to embrace. It is well known for Augusta National, the home of the Masters, and one of the South's finest traditions, barbecue. Delicious Sconiers, the restaurant of choice of 2 U.S. presidents. Welcome to the Augusta-Richmond County Civic Center in the Garden City, Augusta, Georgia. This venue hosted the 1996 U.S. Olympic box-offs. And tonight, it welcomes fistic fury of a different fashion, the UFC. Hello again, everyone. I'm Bruce Beck. Welcome to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Tonight's program is entitled Ultimate Force, and rightfully so. We've got 2 of the toughest hitters ever to enter the octagon, Vitor Belfort and Tank Abbott. But that's where the similarities end. Vitor Belfort is the consummate martial artist. Tank Abbott is the consummate street fighter. Vitor Belfort is a clean-living 20 years of age. Tank Abbott is a hard-living 32. And Vitor is the guy the fans love. Tank Abbott is the guy the fans love to hate. My broadcast partner captured the gold medal in 1984, Greco-Roman Wrestling, Super Heavyweight Division, Jeff Blatton again. Jeff, we've got a slugfest.
Oh, without a doubt. Tank Abbott, the prouder, powerful puncher, and then you got quick and slick in Vitor Belfort. Abbott's going to have to shrink the octagon, cut the octagon off, make Belfort hittable. Belfort obviously wants to rely on his speed.
Jeff, on paper, Belfort looks invincible, but then there's the experience aspect.
Without a doubt. Abbott has faced the very tough the UFC has to offer. You're talking about Couture, you're talking about people like Severn. So when you look at Tank Abbott, he is a proven quality. When you take a look at somebody like Vitor Belfort, we've only seen him twice. We don't know if he has a chin. We haven't even seen him fight on the ground, and he's a Brazilian.
All right, let's take a look right now at the lightweight tournament bracket. We've got 2 separate tournaments going on tonight in addition to the main event. 2 UFC veterans square off in our first semifinal in the lightweight division. Leninger against Guy Mezger. And newcomers Ensign Inoue and Royce Alger square off in semifinal number 2.
Well, Leninger and Mezger both have experience. They've both fought in the octagon. That'll be a tough one to pick, but without a doubt, Alger is the one everyone's looking at. Tremendous wrestling background.
Heavyweight bracket for fighters 201 pounds and up. We've got 4 newcomers, Jeff. Stepanov, Graham, Couture, and Halme.
Well, without a doubt, you're talking about Stepanov. We have nothing about him. We have nothing about Graham. However, Couture is an amateur wrestler. Halme is a professional wrestler.
And in the main event, David Tank Abbott squares off with Vitor Belfort.
And you're talking about style against guile when you talk about that fight.
Well, the third member of our broadcast team is on NBC's hit show News Radio. He's also a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo. Let's check in with Joe Rogan.
Thank you, guys. I'll be back here interviewing the fighters when they come out of the octagon, and I'm also going to be giving you all the inside information as I get it. We're going to know who's going to be in the finals of each weight class. We're going to make sure we find out who the alternates are, if we need alternates, and I'll let you know what the mood is back here and any other information you need to know. Back to you guys.
All right, Joe, thank you very much. Now, if a fighter who wins a bout is unable to continue in the tournament format, an alternate takes his place. And here's the results of the alternate bouts from earlier tonight. In the lightweight division, Tito Ortiz disposed of Wes Albritton in 33 seconds with a plethora of elbows. And over in the heavyweight ranks, Jack the Ripper Nielsen of Augusta took care of Saeed Hosseini in 1:23 when the ref stopped the contest. Here are the laws of the octagon. No biting, no eye gouging, no fish hooking. The referee has the authority to restart the bout if there is a lack of action. No rounds, but a 12-minute time limit with 1 3-minute overtime in the semis and finals. A 15-minute time limit with 2 3-minute overtimes in the main event. Here are the ways to win a fight: by knockout, by submission, if the corner throws in a towel, if the referee stops the contest because a fighter cannot intelligently defend himself, by disqualification, or if time expires, 3 judges render a decision. Our first fight of the evening comes in the lightweight tournament. Christoph Leninger, the judo jiu-jitsu stylist, taking on Guy Mezger, a submission fighter. And for Christoph Leninger, this is his chance for redemption after a tough loss in UFC 3. Leninger says he's now got the experience to win in the octagon.
A victory of any kind is a grudge match for me in the octagon. It could be whoever. It's just to win the victories. My grudge is against losing, not against a person. So, depending on who it is, when it is, where it is, it really doesn't matter. It's just the key thing is winning the first match, and that's what I'm focusing on, not necessarily, you know, vengeance.
And here comes Christoph Leninger from Phoenix, Arizona. He won the Southwestern Open in January 1997, also known as the Best of the West no-holds-barred tournament. He has his own dojo, Team Leninger. He's 0-1 in the UFC. He lost to Ken Shamrock in a tough battle in UFC number 3.
And he went longer than any other fighter had gone with Shamrock except for Royce Gracie. He says, beware the jiu-jitsu man. Weaker can beat stronger. It's not a well-studied art, thus people fall prey to the guard. And from the feet, it's the transition to the control position. And that's what he's looking to do here. Comes from a strong judo and jiu-jitsu background. He has numerous throws, excellent submissions, good on the ground. The question is going to be, does he have striking capability to augment and supplement that grappling skill?
So there's a look at Christoph Leninger, the heavyweight champion in the American Grappling Association. Well, Guy Mezger is undefeated in 2 UFCs, but for his fight with Leninger, the striker from Dallas, Texas, went back to school, expanding his skills at the Lion's Den.
He's not going to surprise me. There's nothing that he's going to do that's going to surprise me. I think that there's a lot that I'm going to do that's going to surprise him. And I think he's met somebody who's going to hit like I can hit. He's got a man where he can hit like I can hit. And I don't think he's going to be able to take me down.
Guy Mezger. He has cut his ponytail, which was definitely a trademark. He's serious. He comes from the Lion's Den, where he trained with the likes of Willie Thompson and Frank Shamrock and Bill Jackson and Ken Shamrock, and now he's ready for battle.
Well, without a doubt, he's prepared himself like no other fight he's fought in the octagon. He's actually 2-0 here, but he's been an alternate. He's never been in the main draw. And look for him to be the kind of guy to take you down, mount, and strike from there. He's very good on his feet. Excellent with submissions. Certainly working with Ken Shamrock has helped that. He's very good on his feet. He will throw good punches. He's worked to improve his ground game, but he relies on his strikes, particularly in the mounted position.
Now the tail of the tape for this first lightweight semifinal bout. Leninger comes in, 37 years of age, 8 years older than Mezger. You must be 200 or less to compete. It's Phoenix, Arizona against Dallas, Texas. So we're set for the formal introductions. Let's go up to the veteran Octagon announcer of the UFC, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, SCG Sports presents the only event of its kind. The only event where the world's greatest fighters face each other in the ultimate testing ground, the Octagon. For those in attendance today and the millions watching around the world, it's time. Augusta, Georgia, are you ready? Are you ready for the Ultimate Fighting Championship? And now, let's begin with our first fight. Standing to my left, fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona, a veteran of UFC 3, a 4th degree black belt in Kodokan Judo, winner of this year's Southwestern Open Tournament, standing 6 feet and weighing 200 pounds. Please welcome Christoph Leninger. And standing to my right, a submission fighter from the Lion's Den. He's ranked number 2 in the world in the sport of pancrase, the world kickboxing heavyweight champion of 1995, with a record of 22-2 and 19 by knockout. He also has a record of 2-0 in the UFC. He stands 6 feet, 1 inch tall, weighing in at 198 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in his 3rd trip to the Octagon from Dallas, Texas, Guy Mezger! And our referee for the evening is Big John McCarthy.
Big John McCarthy, 3rd man of the Octagon, tactical instructor at the Los Angeles Police Academy, working his 14th UFC. He's done 100+ no-rules fights. He has command and can stop the contest. So we open up with Christoph Leninger against Guy Mezger. And the irony, Leninger lost to Ken Shamrock in UFC 3. Mezger trains at Kenny's facility, the Lion's Den in California.
That could be a revenge factor for Leninger. But certainly I would have to give the grappling skill to Leninger. Coming from judo, and certainly the level that he accomplished in judo, he is going to be awful tough to take down. But Mezger is a very good athlete, training with some great athletes out at the Lion's Den. I'm sure he's very competent in there, and I'm sure he's the better striker.
And a right hand landed by Mezger. He grabs onto that gi.
And he's holding the gi so that Leninger cannot dodge some of those punches. That is the problem with wearing an article of clothing. But Leninger claims it's his 3rd hand in the Octagon.
And Leninger fighting back, countering, as Mezger continues to pursue him.
It'll be interesting here. This kind of grab the gi is very comfortable for Leninger because that's exactly what judo is. The problem is he's absorbing strikes. That's something he normally doesn't face in judo.
Well, Leninger's got a good hand right now on the Speedo trunks of Guy Mezger. We haven't seen this much before.
He doesn't want separation. He doesn't want to be in range for those bombs, those long-distance punches.
Mezger throws open palm strikes in pancrase, but here you can use the closed hand, and he's got to utilize that.
Break away.
A minute 15 in, still on their feet.
Tried a little sweep there, inside-out sweep to try to take Mezger off balance.
12-minute time limit with a 3-minute overtime if necessary. And the canvas looks very slippery right now as they continue to slip around the Octagon a bit.
Seems when one of them's against the wall, they have something to push against, and they're able to drive their opponent towards the center.
And the crowd's getting a little restless here at the Augusta-Richmond County Civic Center. That Octagon is 750 square feet of space. It's 32 feet across. The padded walls are 5 foot 6 inches on top of the chain link fence.
And he goes to the guard. Leninger chooses to go down to the guard. I'm not sure this is a smart move against Mezger.
Especially considering he's been working on submission techniques.
And also because of his striking prowess. He's a kickboxer, so he knows how to use his knees and elbows. His knee is right up against the side of Leninger's head. That's a post. So if he can hit him in the side of his head, there's no place for his head to go. It absorbs the full punishment.
Leninger did a nice job defensively there, warding off a potential elbow by Mezger.
Sort of an outside guard the way he's got just the one leg. He's not fully in the guard position. I'm sure Mezger's looking to try to get that leg out and possibly get to the mounted position.
Mezger tried to use the knee, but Leninger's got him pretty much tied up.
Well, what he's done is curled himself into a ball tight to the body.
Well, there's a good right hand
to hit.
And Mezger says, let's get back up on our feet. And we don't see that often. When someone's on the mat, we usually see him try to work some submission, but Guy wants it back on the feet.
Leninger could have stayed down there, chose to come up. He looks kind of tired, too.
Yeah, he does. He's breathing with his mouth a little bit open, and that's a telltale sign.
He also isn't really clearly looking at his opponent. He kind of was distracted, looked around him, almost had that spacey look in his eyes. Maybe he's just catching his wind, or maybe he's baiting Mezger.
Quick kick by Guy Mezger. Trying to throw a little bit of a headbutt.
Yeah, quick little headbutt in there.
Uppercut by Mezger. And Leninger counters with the right hand. Mezger with the knee.
That was a decent knee. That got in there.
Almost 4 minutes in. And Mezger continues to be the aggressor. Leninger preferring to counter.
Leninger likes to hang on to that.
Oh, good move by Leninger.
That's that inside-outside sweep. It's not going to help him really in terms of effectively improving the position.
Didn't follow it up, Jeff.
Couldn't really follow it up. When you land on the ground, you're sideways. When you turn the face, he has time to turn the face.
Looking for an armbar, perhaps, Jeff?
I don't think so here. I think what Mezger's trying to do is, one, get that hand off of his trunk so that his hips have more mobility. Once he has his mobility, you'll see him start to throw punches. I think Leninger right here is happy to be in a defensive position and wait to see if Mezger makes a mistake. Mezger is in a position to carry the fight, I think, as in Leninger would prefer to see the fight slow down and get into a more of a grappling match than a striking scenario.
So Leninger continues to tug on Metzger's trunks, and another move by Leninger,
beautiful.
And a reversal by Mezger.
Great grappling. Leninger put Mezger to sleep and caught him, but Mezger was just too powerful. Came out of the guard position now on top. And it's Leninger who's in the guard, and Metzger's pushing him into the fence. We've seen this before. Trying to pin the upper body down, and then he'll create space and try to throw punches.
So Leninger in the guard. And he's got it fed up against that chain link fence. And Mezger chopping away at the midsection, which would make sense. Trying to loosen him up a little.
Without a doubt, affect his breathing, get him focused in some other area, and then come back to your strength.
Mild headbutt. Didn't really get all of that head.
Leninger looks very comfortable down here. However, I'm not sure this is the way he's going to win the fight.
He can only grab that fence for 3 seconds before John McCarthy issues the warning, and then if he gets caught, he'll have to go to a standing position.
This is where we've seen so many now of the classic fights in the UFC coming to this kind of a position. The guard and trying to pass the guard.
And the question is, who's more adept on the canvas? More than halfway through the 12-minute time limit. And it's pretty much been this way throughout, with Mezger trying to make something happen, and then ending up on the canvas. Leninger in the guard. Christoph Leninger from Phoenix, Arizona. Guy Mezger from Dallas, Texas. Training out in California. Currently the #2 ranked fighter in Pancrase. Pretty good amateur kickboxer, but we haven't seen much from his standing position tonight. Jeff, who needs to be the aggressor from this posture?
I would tend to feel on points right now Mezger is ahead. He's controlled the grappling position. He got the better of the striking when they were up on the feet, and he's the one that's carried the fight. He's been moving forward the entire time. So in all three areas, striking, grappling, and aggressiveness, I have Mezger ahead. I believe Leninger right here has relied on his strength because judo involves so much in the guard position that he's comfortable here and feels as though his defense is good enough to slow Mezger down, keep him from wailing away, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to get any offense in down here to score points of his own.
And what was it that Leninger told us yesterday? Beware of the jiu-jitsu man.
Well, he likes to believe in that. Weaker can beat stronger, and it's from the feet to the transition controlled finish. And it's Mezger who's controlled the transition from the feet to the ground, coming up in the top position and controlling it.
Leninger trains with Kevin Jackson and Melvin Douglas. Mezger with Frank Shamrock and Billy Jackson, the world champion kickboxers, longtime mentor. And Big John McCarthy said, all right, fellas.
Go to your corner here.
Let's get up
Turn around,
on the
face
feet.
me.
No improvement in position. It's sort of about a stalemate in the sport of wrestling.
You ready?
You can't improve position. They're going to move you back to the feet to create more action. This is a break for Leninger. But it also suits Mezger's needs because he is the better striker on the feet.
And he can also kick. Let's see if he employs some kicking moves. Over 8 minutes in. Yeah, this one has been very much a chess match. They've both been in the UFC before. Mezger twice as an alternate. Leninger, as we mentioned, the longest fight with Kenny Shamrock except for Hoyts Gracie. And he lost in UFC 3 at 449.
Well, you're looking at two experienced fighters who have entered the octagon
before. Oh, there's a kick by Mezger. Leninger said, nope, no problem.
Caught him, though.
He
definitely caught him.
Yes, sir.
I think he's actually saying great kick to him. He's admiring Mezger's work.
That gi becoming a bit cumbersome now for Leninger.
Probably holding a little bit of heat in as well.
Yep, he opened it up a bit.
Also wondering about Mezger's hand. He seemed to have looked at it there a little bit. I wonder if it's bothering him.
Not too warm in this arena. Outside today, about 80 here in Augusta. Beautiful day.
Whoa, that one almost looked like it caught him in the rib. He bent over after the kick. That might have struck him in a floater rib or caught him as he was breathing.
And again, the tight skin canvas pad gets slippery as the night goes on with the sweat that accumulates. Leninger's spinning around.
He's actually lost in there when he's getting struck. He's keeping his head down, and when your head's down, if you yank forward on your opponent, he's going to travel. Mezger able to pull on the collar of the gi, causing him to take those steps to catch his balance and putting him really in a defenseless position. Certainly Mezger's ahead on points at this juncture in the fight.
We'll go to a 3-minute OT, overtime, if we go to 12 minutes, and the fight has not been decided. And if we have to go to the judges' scorecard at the end of 12 minutes plus 3 minutes overtime, it'll be Kurt Shearer, Michael DePasquale Jr., and Jeff Santella who will render the decision.
Got a minute 30 to the end of regulation now. They're back in the clinch. Leninger hanging on to the trunks of Mezger. Mezger's head's down, and I'm sure he's going to hang on to a collar to maintain balance and also use it to keep his opponent close enough to try and strike. And now they're again in the mount.
And that's where Leninger wants to be.
Mezger's actually got Leninger's right arm trapped around his own neck.
So Leninger basically said, let me take you down and see what I can do with you there, because Jeffy just wasn't doing much on his feet.
I feel he was lost. I don't think he had any tools to compete with Mezger on his feet, so he's purposely gone back down to the ground to look for an opportunity in the guard.
Do you think Mezger failed to capitalize on his feet?
He could have been maybe a little bit busier throwing bombs, but why do something to prove to someone you're good? He's doing everything he needs to do to win this fight.
Right.
And why overextend? This is a tournament. He's got to come back later and fight again.
And it's like any sport where you get a bit conservative when you have the lead.
This is what I thought Leninger might do.
Now Mezger can kick while he's down there. He's not wearing any of those ASIC shoes.
Mezger wants to be careful not to get kicked in the knee either, being that close to his opponent's heels late in the fight.
Overtime coming up in 10 seconds. It'll be 1 3-minute overtime period. And there's the horn.
Right there.
So now they get the regroup momentarily, then a 3-minute overtime. The crowd a bit restless. As always, the UFC provides such excitement that the fans sometimes, get in a position where they get a little spoiled.
Guy, you got him, okay? You need to put him away. Set him up. 1 minute, 3-minute overtime.
Trainer Tim McClellan.
You got it. Throw it hard.
The scenario here is simple. Mezger should be ahead on points.
Come on, guy. Hey, you got this, man.
Leninger
Come on, get
trails.
up. You got this, man.
Trey Telligman in the corner of
you need
Guy
to set him up
Mezger.
and put him out. Okay? You got it.
I want you to keep standing with him.
All right? You fucking hurt him, guy. You're going to have to hurt him to put him out.
Telligman on the left in the red.
Jab, cross, jab.
Jab,
Frank
cross,
Shamrock
jab,
in the
guy.
black
He's a
shirt.
southpaw. Jab, cross, jab. You hurt him in the body.
So let's
Jab,
see. We'll
cross,
go to
jab, guy,
overtime.
right.
The winner of this one advances to the finals of this lightweight tournament. We've got 2 separate tournaments working tonight, the lightweight tournament, the heavyweight tournament, and then the main event, Vitor Belfort against Tank Abbott.
Get it ready. I want you back
What
in
you're
the
looking
corner.
at
Here
are
we go.
2 very evenly matched
Here we
fighters.
go.
Leninger
Are you
coming from the
ready?
grappling background.
Are you ready?
Mezger from
Let's
the
get it
striking.
on.
But the grappler is coming up short with weapons. Mezger leading on aggressiveness, striking, and even controlling the mat.
Mezger throwing out a jab, and Leninger answering.
Nice little right counter. Caught him flush.
Leninger does not look comfortable on his feet. Mezger this time approaching with the kick.
Seems if he followed that up with a left hook, because Leninger's right arm drops each time he kicks to try to catch, leaving the side of the head exposed right there again. If he followed that with a left hook, there, he came in with a straight right instead, caught him.
Leninger grabbing the right arm momentarily and goes back to the trunks.
He wants to bind, he wants to hold, he wants to do everything he can
Some
to
chopping
slow
left
Mezger
hand.
down.
Leninger getting a little bit aggressive.
Looking good.
Another left and a knee. On a counter by Guy Mezger.
He almost has a choke here too. A semi-front headlock to look for a guillotine.
Almost halfway through this 3-minute overtime.
Leninger was actually hanging on with both hands to Metzger's trunks, trying to control Mezger. Keep him where he knows his hips are so he can't get hit.
And they continue to slip around that octagon. Keep in mind that slipperiness later. It may be a factor. And this is basically a stalemate on their feet. Now they go to the ground.
And Leninger is going to bury his head. He does not want to absorb any more punishment here, but he's not going to be able to answer the call towards creating offense and scoring points of his own.
Back in the guard.
Mezger close to almost getting a pass of the guard and getting a true mount. But his right leg remains trapped.
Yep. And now he's able to throw some left hands. Less than a minute to go in overtime. And Mezger starting to get through with that left hand to the head of Leninger.
And when you're pinned up against the fence, it's difficult to move your head. Mezger taking advantage of placing Leninger against that fence, using the fence as a weapon.
30 seconds to go, and there's no question, although it may be somewhat close, it's still Mezger who's dominated the fight in terms of the action.
Well, he has been the aggressor. So the other 2 realms are grappling skill and striking, and he has dominated both of those as well by being in the mount.
And now he just doesn't want to make a mistake.
He's actually hanging on. He's fulfilling what he needs to do by staying a little bit busy.
And Mezger said this competition tonight was all about him. He wanted to achieve something for himself. Good knee by Mezger. And it doesn't matter how you win, it's just move on. You win. Yep.
That's right. Move on.
Here we go.
And this one is over.
Good job.
And now the judges will render the decision.
Good job.
It was hard fought. 2 evenly matched fighters. Both have experience in the octagon, and it showed here.
So it'll go to Jeff Santella, karate school owner in Florida, black belt in Kempo Kung Fu and Taekwondo. Couture, the 2-time national champion. in both freestyle and Greco-Roman wrestling.
And
Michael
like
DePasquale Jr., the publisher and editor, Karate International Magazine.
Fuck your tights, man.
And DePasquale Jiu-Jitsu in Rivervale, New Jersey. And you either go for one or the other. You cannot hedge your bets.
I'd be surprised, Bruce, if this was not unanimous.
So Bruce Buffer will take us through the particulars of the decision.
Gentlemen, we go to the judges' cards for a decision. Our judge, Jeff Santella, has it. Mezger. Judge Kurt Shear has it. Mezger. And Judge Michael DePasquale has it for the winner, Guy Mezger.
Stay right there, baby. Looking
Well,
good.
that decision doesn't surprise me. A unanimous decision for Guy Mezger, and he advances to the finals of the lightweight tournament.
Mezger controlled the action from the onstart. Here, though, Leninger doing a beautiful move there, going backwards, flipping Mezger over, but Mezger immediately reacting, bridging off his back and getting back on top. And from here, he was able to go ahead and pound away at Leninger. A little bit later on, Mezger in tight, a beautiful knee into the midsection of Leninger, backed him up, certainly took a lot of the steam out of his opponent, and then up against the fence, a couple finishing knees right as time ran out. Dominating performance by Guy Mezger.
So Mezger remains undefeated in the octagon, and let's check in with Joe Rogan.
I'm here live with Guy Mezger. Guy, congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
How you feeling right now?
Good. A little tired. He's tougher than I thought. But, you know, everybody here's tough. He just took a lot of good blows and didn't give up. Hats off to him.
The key to the fight seemed to be your superior striking, but his inability to take you to the ground. That's what you feel?
Yeah. I mean, he couldn't take me down when I did. I landed on top. Good defenses, though. You know, he hung in there. He threw better punches than I thought he was going to throw. But you can see, not so pretty now. And
did you feel like you had an advantage coming into this fight because Ken Shamrock had already fought him and you trained with him?
I feel, to be honest, you know, he had nothing he could do to me.
How do you
when
feel?
He punched me, it didn't hurt. I mean, nothing did hurt me. You know, it was just more of a battle of attrition, how long he was going to hold out before he either gave up or got hurt. So.
How do you feel for the upcoming fights? You fine?
Oh yeah, fine. I mean,
got a new pair of shorts?
A
little stretched out?
I need to, yeah.
Okay, well, congratulations and good luck.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Back to you guys.
All right, Joe Rogan. So Guy Mezger advances. The only thing negative for Guy is the fact that he had to spend 15 minutes of effort, Jeff, and that might catch up to him a little bit down the road.
Well, certainly he had to put out a lot of energy, but at the same time, he controlled that output of energy. He was conserving it at the end. He was thinking forward. He knew he had that fight in hand.
Our second semifinal in the lightweight division, Ensign Inoue, the Shuto fighter from Omiya, Japan, taking on Royce Alger, the fighting farmer from Iowa City, Iowa. And that is our second semifinal matchup in the Ultimate Force lightweight division. And we're looking forward to seeing Royce Alger, who comes in as a two-time NCAA champion, a two-time World Cup champion, and highly regarded by Dan Gable, the legendary coach at Iowa, the most dedicated athlete and coach, and perhaps the most successful that I've ever been around, says Alger about Gable. Meanwhile, Gable thinks that Alger is something special as well. Well, undaunted by Alger's skill, Ensign Inoue says his plan tonight is to take Alger to the mat and beat him at his own game. We'll have to see if that proves true.
My strategy is to take him down as fast as I can, knock him out as fast as I can, whether it be standing or be on the ground. I think basically what I want to try and do with Royce is to meet the ferocity with the ferocity. So I know he's known as Gable's most ferocious wrestler ever, and I think it'd be nice to try and meet his aggression up head on head.
Ensign Inoue was born in Hawaii. He now lives in Japan. He's the World Shoot Fighting Association #1 ranked fighter. He says he's not afraid of losing. A heck of a baseball, basketball, volleyball player. 6 years ago, he started intense jiu-jitsu.
And Shuto is a hybrid form of grappling, striking, and submission. Once again, we see that the Octagon has produced a new form of hybrid style to meet the needs of the Octagon. He wants quick takedowns, but I question whether he can take down a superior wrestler. Extensive groundwork. He feels as though his main way of winning here against Alger will be submission, and he has powerful strikes as well.
His opponent, Royce Alger, the assistant coach at the University of Iowa wrestling team. The veteran grappler Alger makes his debut in the Octagon. He's on a mission to gain additional respect for his chosen sport, wrestling.
The best hand-to-hand athletes in the world are freestyle wrestlers, bar none. And I believe that, and I've always believed that, and now it's time to put the show on the road. Coleman was a great catalyst for this. He came out and he rocked some people's worlds, and now it's time to get the boys, get the A-team in there and start taking some people out.
So Mark Coleman, the UFC champion, 9-0. The only undefeated fighter in the history of the Octagon with 5 or more fights is in his corner now. Alger is a member of the Hammer House.
And that is a place in which people like Kevin Randleman, an NCAA champion, Mark Kerr, an NCAA champion, and Royce Alger are all training with Mark Coleman. But one part of Alger's past that has not been mentioned. He was a Golden Glove boxer in his youth, and though the sport of wrestling prevented him from developing those skills further, he said as he's gotten back into the gym to prepare for this fight, some of those skills have returned to him.
And Alger says he will dominate his weight class the way Coleman dominates his.
Alger's discipline, simple. Pound, ground and pound. He wants to take his opponent down and obliterate him with strikes on the ground. He might know some submissions, but he's going to rely on his powerful strikes.
We're set for the introduction of the fighters. Let's go up to Bruce Buffer for the formal particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next fight in the lightweight tournament begins with the fighter standing to my left. The top-ranked heavyweight Shudo fighter from Japan. He has a record of 8-2 in full contact competition. He stands 5'11" and weighs in at 199 pounds. Hailing from Honolulu, Hawaii, and fighting out of Omiya, Japan, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ensign Inoue! And the fighter standing to my right, making his Octagon debut. He's a 2-time NCAA National Wrestling Champion, a 2-time World Cup champion, an 8-time member of the United States Olympic team. He's from Iowa City, Iowa, standing 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighing in at 200 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Royce the Farmer Alger!
So it's Inoue against Alger. The shoot fighter against the farmer.
Are you ready? Let's get it on!
Here we go, Big John McCarthy, third man in the Octagon.
Well, Inoue said wrestlers don't understand submission, and he felt he would have an opportunity to slap on some kind of finishing hold on Alger.
Good move by Alger.
Alger basically doing a takedown here, and Alger said the only thing he worries about is punching himself out. He needs to control his emotions while he's in there, and as a first-timer, that may be very difficult to do. But he seems to be in a pretty good controlled position here. He can base out, take his time, and wait to go ahead and create an opening and hit him with some strikes.
Didn't take him long to get his opponent on the mat.
Well, he got caught underneath a little bit there, but his superior wrestling skill, he was able to finish what we call a takedown and get to the top position. He needs to pass the guard. If he can get his leg out there, it would greatly help him.
Inoue in the guard. Alger loading up, missing with the right hand.
Again, to the face. Yes. One more to the face.
Alger again trying to throw that right.
And really, Alger's getting hit here by Inoue. Inoue seems to be very versed in the guard, willing to go all the way up onto the tops of his shoulders, nearly inverted, and still throw punches. He's looking for an arm lock. He's looking for an arm lock. He's got an arm lock on Alger. Alger's in trouble. Alger just got beat. He tapped out.
And Big John McCarthy jumped in, and Inoue wins it.
And he called it. He said he doesn't understand submission fighting, and he got caught in an arm lock.
Wow. Inoue's poise and patience, and look at his entourage. His manager, trainer, Egan Inoue. And in what you would have to say an upset, Ensign Inoue wins it.
In a battle of unknowns, wrestlers have done very well, but Inoue, a master submission, felt he had an advantage, that Alger has not seen enough in the guard position, and that he was vulnerable to submission, and he fulfilled that insight by going ahead and slapping on an arm lock. Alger had to tap out. A big win for Inoue.
And Inoue, Jeff, showed patience, he showed poise, he looked very skilled and adept on the ground.
Well, he certainly looked like he has practiced the guard position a lot. He looks like he spent an awful lot of time on his back to feel comfortable in there, and he suckered Alger into an arm lock.
So Ensign Inoue, shocking the experts. He came in yesterday to his interview very confident, very composed, and he showed it here.
Alger shot a single leg takedown to open it up, switched to the far side, and right here he was caught. Saw Paul Herrera get nailed with elbows in a previous UFC from that position, but his wrestling ability got him to the top position here, and he wound up in the guard. Then later on here, he's awful high. He's way up over the top. You see Inoue adjust his legs now so that he's got the power to stretch that arm, and you see him locking the wrist tight to his chest. When he brings Alger down here, Alger's got nowhere to go. That arm is being hyperextended. He had to tap out. Looking at it again, the power of the full body against just the arm. There's no way for Alger to have gotten out of that.
And here's the victorious corner as they see that Inoue has pulled off the victory. Joe?
Back here live with Ensign Inoue. Congratulations. It looked like it was tough going for you in the beginning, but you found the submission.
It was tough. All these fights are going to be tough.
What was your strategy going into this fight, knowing you were going against a world-class wrestler like Royce?
Well, he was well-rounded all over, so it made it easier for really not to have a strategy. Take it how it goes and take him down. That's what I did.
How do you feel now for the finals? You feel healthy? You feel fine?
Get back to my locker, lay down, still kind of adrenaline flowing too much. I want to sit down and get back to earth. I feel good though.
Congratulations and good luck in the finals. Back to you guys.
Well, the main event coming up later tonight. David Tank Abbott, who wears the black hat of the UFC, one of the most destructive fighters ever to enter the octagon. Tank is more than just a brawler. Tank is truly a force of nature. It's Abbott against Vitor Belfort coming up tonight. And right now, let's take a closer look at the man David Lee Abbott, the Tank.
My name's Tank Abbott. I'm from Huntington Beach. I've been fighting my whole adult life. This will be the first time I won't have to worry about being arrested after I fight.
When it comes to excitement in the octagon, DL Tank Abbott never fails to deliver. A devastating puncher with dynamite in his fist. Tank's UFC debut was nothing less than awesome. He KO'd 400-pound John Matua in just 21 seconds. The polar bear Paul Varlins was next to go. Tank's got his knee in his face. Varlins bloody in the nostrils. Tank is using that fence as a weapon.
He's kneeing Varlin in the head, and he's enjoying doing it here. Please look up.
He's smiling at the crowd. Oh my, a couple big shots to the head by Abbott. And that is it. John McCarthy stopped it. In the UFC 6 final, it took Oleg Taktarov 19+ minutes and every sambo move he knew to stop the Tank.
Tank had 2 great fights in UFC 6, and then you fell a little bit short. You were a first-timer. What have you learned?
Well, Jeff, as you know, there's only one man in the world that can beat me, and that's myself. Next time, I will not have the handcuffs on my lungs to hinder me from being where I want to be, and that is on top of the octagon with a bunch of bloody bodies around me.
Tank's longtime feud with the Brazilian fighters came to a head in UFC 8 as he brawled with Brazilian fighter Alan Goes in a ringside scuffle in Bayamon. Goes is now one of Vitor Belfort's trainers and cornermen, and the Brazilians are looking for revenge.
Tank, we got to ask you, we haven't seen you in some time since Puerto Rico. What happened down there?
Somebody got smart with me, and I had to lay the law down. I can't let people talk to me like that. Basically, it was a one-time thing. I kind of laughed it off later. If I would have took it further, I'm coming after your ass, and I'll knock on your front door and take care of you. Let's put it this way. You seen Discovery Channel? You seen some animals rip apart a gazelle? That's what's going to happen.
In UFC 11, Tank steamrolled Sam Atkins in the first round in 2 minutes and 6 seconds, then met the pit bull Scott Ferrozzo in the semifinals.
Right hand by Tank. An uppercut by Tank.
At UFC 11, Tank showed that win or lose, he was a force to be reckoned with.
Tank, first describe what happened out there.
Well, I wasn't prepared for him, and he's a little bit bigger than I thought he would be, and we went to war.
Did you let your fans down?
I don't really care about my fans. I let myself down, and that's all that matters.
But Tank would redeem himself at Ultimate 96 as he built up a full head of steam and mean. He opened his assault with a dominant showing against Cal Worsham.
Worsham hanging out to the octagon, look out!
Tank wants to throw him out of the octagon.
Worsham raining down punches. Tank takes him down.
Tank chopped down his next opponent, literally, when he KO'd Steve Nelmark in one of the UFC's most devastating moments.
It's all Tank right now. Nelmark doesn't defend himself soon. McCarthy may step in.
That's it. That's it.
A knockout. Oh, my.
Tank more than earned his chance to take home the ultimate crown. All that was left was one more triumph, but standing in his way was the Predator, Don Fry.
This is Tank's game. Tank lands again.
Boy, they're going toe-to-toe. There is no grappling in this whatsoever. Clinch right now, but neither athlete looking like they... Oh, another right hand. Tank is hitting Fry. Fry is throwing some counters, but the big punches have come from the Tank.
Oh, uppercut by Tank. Both fighters are bloody. Tank goes down. Might have been a slip, though.
Tank was well on his way to victory when lightning struck suddenly. A slip on the canvas forced Tank to accept another setback.
I just come here to fight, and it don't matter, win or lose. I still put either there's an ass kicking either way. One goes on me or the other person. I'm not in the quick tap club. I go out there to bang. Whatever happens, happens.
After crushing the competition, but finishing second in the ultimate Tournament of Champions, Tank Abbott is on a mission. But Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu phenomenon Vitor Belfort wants to teach the Tank a lesson. Well, he says he's not a member of the Quick Tap Club. I'd agree, Jeff.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, when you put Tank Abbott in the octagon, you get a show. He's going to go out there and put his whole heart into it, and he's going to throw bombs. And unless you're prepared to deal with that, Tank's going to get another victory.
Speaking of heavyweights, we begin to focus now on our heavyweight tournament. 4 newcomers have arrived in Augusta at the Augusta-Richmond County Civic Center, the Garden City. And tonight it's Dmitry Stepanov, Stephen Graham, Randy Couture, and Tony Halme And here's our first semifinal battle, Stepanov and Stephen Graham. And Graham, an extension fighter, Stepanov, Muay Thai, kickboxing, and Sambo. And again, with the unknowns, you just don't know what to expect. And for Dmitry Stepanov, this debut in the octagon is a chance to show he's ready to fill the shoes of the Russian fighters who've gone before him. Stepanov's eager to uphold the Russian tradition.
He liked very much Russian fighters, Oleg Takhtarov and Mr. Zinoviev, and he wanted, through his participation, to do as best as possible and to do it like they did.
Dmitry Stepanov, the Russian freestyle kickboxing champion in 1989. He's held numerous Russian and international titles in Muay Thai. He breeds pit bulls, and he shows up pit bulls' tenacity in the ring.
Well, his kickboxing background and certainly the small footage you saw him there in his kata show how he has tremendous dexterity with his legs. Watch for his knees. He probably had some good elbows in there, and I'm sure his hands contain some good punches, but he also has that sambo. Look for him to be very skillful in submission. Look for him to use those kicks, powerful elbows, and we haven't seen him punch, but he claims to be a good puncher as well.
He's a veteran of the elite Russian military special forces. He was the Special Forces hand-to-hand combat champion, and that sounds pretty good on your resume. His opponent tonight is Stephen Graham, a newcomer from North Carolina, who plans to blend raw striking power with pure aggression to swarm over his opponent and take him out fast.
I plan to fight at my level, but if I meet him in this corner and kind of throw him off balance a little, you know, I'm not going to go out there and get in a technical fight with this guy. There's been a lot of fights. But if I plan to go out there and go at him straight up, then maybe he'll have to readjust to me.
Stephen Graham, 290 pounds, 4-0 in Valley Judo, the U.S. Valley Judo Super Heavyweight Champion. A three-time All-America football player at Division II, Fayetteville State. He wants to play pro football someday, but right now he's focusing on the UFC.
And when asked about the 3D, they came out and said, doom, destruction, and despair, but really the 3D meant he's three-dimensional. He can strike, he can grapple, and he can submit. Again, this is a hybrid form, extension fighting, that is developed over what works, discard what doesn't. Powerful kicks, strong hand techniques, questionable ground skills, and he supposedly has some submissions. Once again, we've never seen Stephen Graham fight, but taking a look at this body, you know he's very athletic, and you know he's very powerful.
The basic description of that discipline, whatever works. Here's the tail of the tape. Stepanov, 6 years older, but giving away 73 pounds. For the introduction of our heavyweights, let's go up to Bruce Buffer.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the big men. The first fight in the heavyweight tournament. Starting with the fighter to my left, the Belarusian freestyle fighting champion. He's the winner of the 1992 World Muay Thai competition and the Russian military special forces champion in hand-to-hand combat. He stands 6 feet, 3 inches tall and weighs in at 217 pounds. He's from Minsk, Russia. Please welcome Dmitry Stepanov! And the fighter standing to my right, representing the art of extension fighting. He's the current United States super heavyweight Valley Judo champion. At 6'1" and 290 pounds, he's fighting out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Please welcome Steve 3D Graham!
Stephen Graham, an environmental technician for the state of North Carolina, and handled by the legendary Jim West.
Let's get it on!
Here we go. Graham and Stepanov, and Graham comes flying across the octagon.
Well, he's obviously going to take advantage of his size.
Wow, what a takedown, a ferocious move by Graham.
Big slam. His head is fine. There is no choke involved with that lock. They're directly in front of us. It may look like it is, but there's nowhere near being a choke. It's off to the side of the head, that lock.
Graham working on the hands of Stepanov, trying to break it up. And now Graham gets a good position, getting his arm around Stepanov.
Let's go, come on, let's work, gentlemen, come on.
We'll see how well versed Maurice Graham is in fighting in the guard position.
Stepanov on the mat. Stephen Graham working now after that big takedown.
Come on, I want you to lay there, let's go, come on.
Graham needs to be careful.
And the crowd beginning to chant USA.
Stepanov, well versed in submission, knows his way around on the ground.
But that's a big neck he's trying to choke out, and a big man. Graham pinning that right arm of Stepanov.
Perhaps trying to put a key lock on it. He's controlling the wrist. If he can snake his arm under and lock on his own wrist.
I see Stepanov grimacing, trying to hold off his opponent.
He's almost got it. He's got it. He's got it. He's got it.
Tap out.
Key lock.
A key lock, and that will really hurt. Stepanov is tapping out, and the celebration for Stephen Graham. A minute and 28.
Good job. Come over here. Come over here. Stay right here.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a win by submission at 1 minute, 30 seconds. Steve 3D Graham!
And I'll tell you, Stephen Graham looks like a bigger version of Gary Goodrich.
Certainly does. Also pretty good grappling skills. That was a wonderful double leg when he slammed Stepanov down. And then he knows some good submission locks. Went right for that key lock, stayed with it, milked it from the start, and then wound up finally securing it in real tight. Beautiful double leg. Nice slam there. Tried to bring him down on the shoulder, perhaps cause an injury with that. Oh, this is again the opening of it. A quick kick coming in. And then once they square off, you'll see him drop down, seize the leg, and then a beautiful lift. This is pretty. But he didn't panic. He looked very controlled, and you have to give Jim West a lot of credit. And once he got that key lock secured and tight, you could see John McCarthy was waiting for the tap out when it came. Good job.
Yeah, John knew it was coming. He's been in there for over 100 no-rules fights, and you saw him grabbing that arm, Jeff, even about 30 seconds earlier, trying to loosen him up, and his strength allowed him to do so.
Tremendous power, and you got to give Graham credit. We've never seen him before. Made a big statement.
Here's Joe Rogan backstage.
Okay, I'm here live with the winner, Stephen Graham. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
It seems like you took a lot of them out with that takedown in the beginning.
Hey, the takedown was hard, but I don't think it was enough to take him out of it. Came down to the point where he tried to outstrength me, and he tried to outstrength me. I knew it wouldn't work. But
what was your strategy coming into this fight, knowing this guy was a kickboxer?
Whatever he came at me with, I was going to go to the opposite thing. He wanted to stand up, I was going to the ground. It's the basic.
Well, it was a quick and good victory. It doesn't seem like you have any injuries at all. You feel fine for the finals?
Fine, just fine.
Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you. He's a great fighter, though. Have a lot of respect for him. A lot of respect for him.
All right, a lot of class. Back to you guys.
It took only 90 seconds, and no wonder that he feels pretty good about it. Now, we want to thank the Augusta Richmond County Civic Center for embracing us here tonight. It's a pleasure to be back in Augusta, Georgia.
And you also got to talk about Jim West as instructor, renowned for his martial arts training and teaching, but also his combat for the Special Forces.
Jeff, a closer look.
Once Graham got him down, he used what was called a key lock. Can't see it from this side. You see the tap out, but directly before that, he seizes his opponent's wrist with one hand, snakes under the elbow with the other. You're going to see it right here. You can see the right wrist down, and right here, he's about to take that left arm and lock it onto his own wrist. And once he does it, he has the leverage right there. And when he twists it down, right now you're going to see Stepanov's arm go right over to tap out. Great submission move. Well trained there.
Stephen Graham squats and deadlifts 800 pounds, benches 500 pounds, born in Acme, Delco, North Carolina, now living in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He trained for this in a big way. Our next battle, Randy Couture and Tony Halme, two first-timers to the UFC. Couture, Greco-Roman and freestyle wrestler, and Tony Halme, a shoot fighter from Marina del Rey, California. Greco-Roman champion Randy Couture has no fear about adjusting to the octagon. He thinks the switch from Greco to the free-for-all style of the UFC will be smooth.
I don't have any real concerns. I think I've covered most of the areas that could be a problem, the positions I need to stay out of or be wary of with my trainers, and so I'm not real concerned as far as feeling like I have a major weakness that somebody could exploit. Certainly I'm going to be better at some things than other things. Takedowns obviously will be a strength for me. I feel like there's nobody that I can't take down.
A storied career in wrestling. Three-time national Greco-Roman wrestling champion. Three-time All-American at Oklahoma State. A two-time NCAA runner-up. Recently competed in the Pan Am tournament in Greco-Roman in Puerto Rico. He's a guy, Jeff, who's got some great credentials and who has been around.
Well, he's done it all in the wrestling room, and put it simply, he's USA Wrestling's 1997 Greco-Roman champion at 214 pounds. As far as his wrestling ability, it's good. But as we saw in the Alger match, wrestling does not equate to necessary success in the octagon. You've got to learn submission, you've got to learn finishing techniques. And Randy Couture, while he was in the Army, did some boxing, did some Sambo, so he has seen experience in these disciplines before.
He boxed extensively in the Army from 1982 to 1988. He trained and sparred there, so couple that with his collegiate experience and international experience, and it is definitely plentiful. His opponent is Tony Halme, the heavyweight boxing champion of Finland, who is known as a knockout artist and also a powerful grappler. Halme enjoys his work, and he goes to the octagon with a very clear fight plan, which he shared with us this week. Let's listen in.
When I go to the octagon and referees say, you know, let's get it on, so I go there to kill or be killed. So that's what it is. See, first I try to hit him as hard as I can. If I miss that one, I try to headbutt him. If I miss that one, I rip his arms off the socket or his legs off the socket. So whatever comes, I'm ready. My greatest strength is I'm not afraid of anybody. I got balls of iron, and I go there to rip the head off or I die trying.
Well, Tony is definitely to the point, wouldn't you say, Jeff?
Certainly he thinks he knows what he wants to do when he's in there.
He fights as a pro wrestler under the name Ludwig Borga. And now he tries to make the transition to the UFC. He's currently the heavyweight boxing champion of Finland, 9-1-1 as a pro. And we'll see how this all translates in the octagon.
Big, powerful man, Bruce. Certainly somebody to be reckoned with just from his athletic ability and size. But here you have a professional wrestler against an amateur wrestler. More of a striker because of his boxing background. We all know the WWF is not a competition. Versus somebody like Couture, who has handled competition and such. Here you see Halme's disciplines. He wants to quick takedown, but you heard him say he wants to keep it on the feet and try to hit him hard. Has some takedowns abilities. Certainly a very powerful man. And I don't believe we're going to see Halme do any kicking, though he says he's capable of doing it.
Here is the tail of the tape. And both guys have been around, experienced in terms of age. Halme is the big guy at 300 pounds. He's also 6'4". Both guys from the West Coast. Bruce Buffer, who comes off a recent appearance on Friends, makes the introduction.
Our next fight begins with the fighter to my left. He's making his debut in the octagon. He's the 1997 national champion in Greco-Roman wrestling, a three-time Olympic alternate, and the man named most outstanding wrestler in the United States at the 1997 national championships. He stands 6 feet, 1 inch tall, and weighing in at 225 pounds. He hails from Corvallis, Oregon. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Randy Couture. And the fighter standing to my right, he is the current heavyweight boxing champion of Finland. He stands 6 feet, 4 inches tall, and weighing in at 300 pounds. He hails from Helsinki and fighting out of Marina del Rey, California. Please welcome, in his first appearance to the octagon, Tony the Viking Halme.
So it's Halme against Couture.
The amateur against the pro.
Here we go, here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on!
And we're looking at a big size difference here.
Oh, quick takedown by Couture.
Smart man. Smart man. Why punch with somebody so much bigger? Went right under him, took him down. Watch him milk this position now.
And Couture is known, Jeff, as a guy who has a lot of composure.
I just wonder how long he can hang on there. It doesn't seem like he wants to go to the guard position at all. This is tough to hang on to there. He finally breaks his lock. See what Couture will do from here. I'm not sure he wants to straddle that body. He may want to pass it and stay to the side.
It is a big body, 300 pounds. And there's a punch by Couture. Look at him move.
Might want to choke here. Might look to choke here.
Trying to sink it. Couture trying to sink the choke in that big neck. There's the tap.
And he's very quick.
Good job, man. That's right. You lay right there.
Couture used his smarts.
Relax right there.
Randy Couture with the quick takedown, the patience, the roll, and the choke.
Come on over there. Turn
around. A lot of composure for a first-timer.
Submission. His name is Randy Couture. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for Tony Halme.
It was quick and it was effective. A minute of work for Randy Couture, who advances to the final to take on Big Stephen Grant. And he'll be giving away 75 or 65 pounds in that final. But he was smart, he got it done quick.
Oh, Halme turned his back to him. And as we saw with Tank Abbott and Don Fry, you cannot do that. If you give a person an opportunity to go around the neck, particularly somebody versed in some good submission skills, they're going to get it. Halme came out and charged Couture. Couture ducked him, went right into a double leg takedown. And here Halme tried to hang on, but this is a very difficult position. It's hard to breathe, and once those hands broke the lock, Couture hit him a few times with some straight punches. Halme went to his belly, Couture threw the legs in, and immediately snaked the throat. And from here, you just milk it. You don't want to squeeze right away. Just make sure the part of the forearm gets under the chin to go ahead and cause the choke, and then arch your back, and beautiful technique by Couture.
So managed by Louis Enrico Ciparelli and Bruce Holtz. Couture's first appearance in the octagon. And he comes out very strong. Joe Rogan.
I'm live here with the winner, Randy Couture. Randy, congratulations over an opponent that had a considerable size advantage, but it seemed like you guys were moving at 2 different speeds. It was amazing.
I thought mobility might be a factor. I wasn't sure how he'd approach me, if he'd take his time coming in or charge me. He chose to charge. All I had to really do was change levels. He walked right into the double leg, and then I locked my hands around him and squeezed, and I felt him loosen up to try to adjust for position. That allowed me to mount him. I tried to strike him once, which caused him to roll over, and then he fell right into the choke. So,
you can look at the monitor. We're going to show you a replay of this right now. If we go to here right now, this is the takedown. I mean, he just charged straight at you.
He just changed levels right there. And he was trying to squeeze me, but he didn't really have anything.
So what did you think of this position? You were just holding and waiting for him?
Waiting. I wanted to try and work up around his waist, and then I could try and squeeze him to break his lock, his hands. Once I felt his hands break, I felt I could adjust my knee.
Okay, here's going to be the tap out.
That was after the strike. He turned to his stomach and gave me his neck. So just worked hard, put my hips in right there, and he tapped.
Congratulations on a very impressive victory, and good luck in the finals. Thanks a lot. Back to you guys.
So Randy Couture is into the finals of the heavyweight tournament here in Augusta, Georgia, Georgia's second oldest city, home of the Masters. Established in the early 1700s as a trading post by British General James Oglethorpe. Well, it's time for a UFC flashback, and we go back to UFC 7. This was in Buffalo, New York. Marco Ruas against Paul Varelans. Ruas, with devastating kicks throughout, in defeating the polar bear. It took 13 minutes and 17 seconds. Ruas beat Larry Curtin and Remco Pardue, and then he took Paul Varelans in the final.
Well, we saw a lot of different techniques in that. We saw foot stomping, but that was the only time in UFC history we saw a lot of kicking, eventually resulting in chopping Big Paul Varelans down.
So Ruas, one of the great Brazilians who have performed in the UFC since the beginning. Of course, Royce Gracie capturing the first 2 and 3 of the first 4 and setting the tone for the boys of Brazil.
From the very first UFC, Brazilians have shown the world the meaning of no holds barred. This man led the way, and his name has become legend. 3-time UFC champion, Royce Gracie. Royce proved again and again that technique, ground experience, and the heart of a champion are the ultimate arsenal.
There it is. He's tapping out. That's it. Beautiful, beautiful technique by Gracie.
Yes, sir. But as other fighters studied the Gracie style, chinks in the armor started to appear. And after a punishing UFC 5 super fight with Ken Shamrock, Royce bowed out of UFC competition. Royce Gracie and Ken Shamrock fight to a draw.
So another Brazilian stepped up to take his place. Marco Ruas, king of the streets, bigger than Royce, and a master striker.
There goes Varelans!
Oh, they're not throwing in the towel. I can't believe it.
Marco Ruas put Brazil back on top of the no-holds-barred world.
But after Ruas bowed out of Ultimate 95, it would be a year and a half until the next generation of great Brazilian fighters would appear. At the UFC's Judgment Day, teenage sensation Vitor Belfort, trained by the legendary Carlson Gracie, gave Brazil their newest champion in the octagon. In an awesome display of power and purpose, he blazed through the heavyweight tournament. First, he made short work of Lions Den and Ken Shamrock-trained fighter Trey Telligman.
Oh, big right hand landed by Belfort.
Good hands. Real fast hands by Belfort.
Yeah,
oh, my.
But look at the quickness of Belfort.
Unbelievable. He's got good hands. Very fast.
Then he pulverized the pit bull, Scott Ferrozzo.
Vitor Belfort lands it right to the head. Another. That's it. It's over.
Vitor Belfort explained his philosophy of fighting.
I see myself like a jiu-jitsu fighter, but I'm a complete fighter. I don't just look for the grappling, you know. I think freestyle is a free fighting. You can't just do one thing, you know. You need to open your mind and trying to do whatever all your opponents give it to you. If they block some games, I need to have another game. And that's what I train in the day, you know. If he block this, I need to do this. You need to be ready for everything because my opponents, they are very good. My philosophy is the king of the jungle is a lion, not the elephant. And what I'm going to use there is going to be my technique and my strength to over the big guy.
Can this Brazilian lion take care of an elephant named Tank?
Vitor Belfort, handled by Carlson Gracie, who adopted Vitor to defend the Gracie name and tradition. Now he's just known as Vitor Belfort.
And Vitor showed us a lot in those first 2 fights in the octagon. Certainly some of the quickest hands, if not the quickest, we've ever seen in here. And he's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu artist. dominant in grappling skills. We have yet to see him fight on the ground, Bruce.
And when you talk about fury, you talk about Vitor Belfort, who has some amazingly quick hands.
Vitor Belfort is young and focused and powerful. When the bout begins, Belfort turns into a lion, fast, ferocious, and fiery. Vitor is awesome on his feet and on the ground. He has battered his opponents thus far with a brawler's mentality while maintaining his unwavering pride for his homeland. Tonight, his pride will be tested against the Tank.
And Jeff, is he the next great Brazilian?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt. He's carrying his country on his shoulders, his very young shoulders. Look at him at just age 20 and how much more he can improve. He hasn't even reached physical maturity yet. And with the boxing skills that he possesses right now, they are seriously looking at him being a contender for the Brazilian boxing team in the year 2000 at the Olympics in Sydney.
And what an absolute gentleman who takes great pride in his craft. He believes you have to represent your sport in and out of the octagon.
Oh, without a doubt. He's a clean-living guy. He's happy to be a role model. And he certainly wants to bring back the prestige of the ultimate fighter in the world being a Brazilian.
And you can see Big Mark Coleman, the champion here at Octagon side tonight. Well, we've heard a lot about Vitor's prowess as a puncher, but the man who knows his boxing ability best is his coach, Al Stanky, trainer of 3 Olympians, including De La Hoya.
I've been in the game since 1967. Vitor Belfort is a special, talented athlete. He happens to have ability and attitude. How can you stop all those things? No one will stop Vitor Belfort. And Vitor Belfort will be successful. I think he'll be one of the greatest fighters that I've ever had a chance, an opportunity to work with. And I've worked with some good kids.
So some intense words there from Stanky, who's worked with Oscar De La Hoya, Paul Gonzalez, Hector Lopez, Pepe Riley. He's been in boxing since 1967 at the LA Boxing Club. And Jeffy, he said some heavy things there.
Well, 4 people you just named, those Olympians, 2 were Olympic gold medalists in Gonzalez and De La Hoya. Lopez earned a silver medal. He's had tremendous success. De La Hoya is one of the greatest boxers in the world today. And for him to come out and say Belfort's one of the best that he has ever trained, that's making a huge statement just with his striking ability. Never mind his, jiu-jitsu ability.
And that's later tonight, Vitor Belfort against David Tank Abbott in our main event. And now we turn our attention back to the lightweight final. And we've got an update, a change for the final. Joe Rogan, what's going on?
Okay, guys, Enson Inoue is out. Apparently, he sustained some vision damage and he can't see properly, so he's out. And Tito Ortiz, the winner of tonight's earlier alternate bout, is in. So Enson Inoue, the earlier winner, is out, and Tito Ortiz will be replacing him. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much. So Tito Ortiz replaces Inoue as per the UFC format. An alternate has already proven himself in battle. That was before we came on the air live tonight on pay-per-view. Ortiz won very quickly and impressively over Wes Albritton. And let's go back to that earlier fight. It took place about 8:15 this evening here at the Augusta Richmond County Civic Center. Set to go with our alternate bout in the lightweight division. Tito Ortiz taking on Wes Albritton. Ortiz from Huntington Beach, California. Albritton from Scottsboro, Alabama. And we asked Wes Albritton about fighting Ortiz in the UFC.
He is a collegiate wrestler. He wrestles in college, so I expect him to want to put me on the ground right off the bat. And, I'm going to fight him, stay standing up as long as I can. If we go to the ground, just try to get nasty on the ground.
And here comes Wes Albritton. Born in Bradenton, Florida, his hometown, Scottsboro, Alabama. A black belt in Kempo. The World Kickboxing Association middleweight state champion. Numerous bare-knuckle matches. And training for this event, Jeff, by emphasizing ground fighting, spending almost 90% of each practice on the mat.
Well, that's a strong indication that he feels that he's going to need a lot of training in ground tactics, something that the disciplines that he's practiced over the years hadn't provided him.
Speaking of discipline, how does it break down?
Well, certainly Wes is going to count on his speed. He's going to use strikes to try and take down his opponent. He's got fast hand techniques. He's capable of good kicks. And he says he's been working on the ground, but he, as you heard in the interview, he's going to want to keep the fight on his feet.
His opponent, Tito Ortiz, whose discipline is street fighting. And he comes from Huntington Beach, California, in his first ever UFC. Two-time California State Wrestling Champion. That was in JUCO. He also won a couple of local jiu-jitsu tournaments. He trains with Tank Abbott. How does that translate to the UFC?
Actually, there's no one else besides a couple other guys who worked out with me and him that really wanted to. I mean, I was pretty much the biggest, youngest guy, and me and him pretty much clicked in attitudes. We lived in the same city. I mean, and he doesn't really like the guys who are the smart mouths or think they're all big hot shots, and I wasn't really like that. I was just there just to learn a couple things. He taught me a few things, I taught him a few things.
And Tito is teaching a couple things. He's a wrestling coach at Marina High School in Huntington Beach. And street fighting, Jeff, you break it down.
Well, he says he's matured and he doesn't do any of the street fighting things so much anymore, but he is an accomplished wrestler, and he right away said, if I get the opportunity, I'm taking my opponent to the ground, and he's been practicing his finishing strikes. Once he gets you down there, he will hit you hard. Some submission, but you can bet he's got a lot of groundwork.
Tail of the tape for this alternate bout. Ortiz street fighting against Kempo Karate. Ortiz younger, Ortiz 10 pounds heavier and 4 inches taller. It's California against Alabama. Right now for the formal introduction of the fighters, let's go up to our ring announcer, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, our first alternate bout of the evening is in the lightweight division. Starting with the fighter, standing to my left, a black belt in Kempo, Tang Sudo, and Taekwondo.
Wait for him.
He's the
for
middleweight
signal.
World
Even if you hear
Kickboxing
it in the ear,
Association
get going.
champion
You wait for him
for the
signal.
state of Alabama.
If he's talking, you got to wait for him to finish to get it
at
out.
188 pounds, he's fighting out of Scottsboro, Alabama. Please welcome Wes Albritton. And the fighter, standing to my right, a two-time California state champion in wrestling. He stands 6'2" and 199 pounds. He's fighting out of Huntington Beach, California. Please welcome to the octagon, Tito Ortiz.
Third man in the octagon, the alternate ref is Joe Hamilton, who's a full-time firefighter and paramedic in Provo, Utah. 9 years with the Southern California Police Department. Two guys making their debut in the octagon. In the black trunks, Tito Ortiz, and in the gray trunks, Wes Albritton.
Well, technique rules, and it certainly looks as though Ortiz has the edge body-wise. Taller, body looks a lot harder. Certainly coming from a wrestling background, he possesses power.
We are set to go. Joe Hamilton gets the fighters going.
Watch for Albritton to try to strike and keep it on the feet, but he got in awful close. I don't know why he did that if he wanted to stay standing.
Good quick move by Ortiz, who rains down some elbows. And Ortiz popping away at the head of Albritton. And now in the mount.
He's got a good mount here. Legs have no defense for Albritton. He's absorbing this punishment. Look for the referee here to step in.
A lot of left hands landed by Tito Ortiz. Oh, some bad ones to the face, and finally the corner. The corner throws in the towel. So the corner beat the referee's stoppage, and that is it. Ortiz wins as the corner threw in the towel. I'll tell you, Albritton is a tough customer because he didn't like the fact that that towel was thrown in.
Well, he was absorbing some punishment. He clearly did not have any good defense to keep those blows from causing damage. His corner felt that he was in an indefensible position and rightfully threw in the towel. He was outclassed by Ortiz.
Tito Ortiz wins the bout. And he through a flurry of elbows, and he was all business.
Mr. Wes Albritton.
So Ortiz the victor, and it deserves another look.
Albritton wanted to stay on his feet, but he walked right into Ortiz, who with double underhooks simply threw him to the ground. And once on the ground, Albritton never had a chance to really get into a good guard position. He started absorbing elbows, and once he went to his back, Ortiz got into a very good mount right there. And once you get into that kind of a mount, there's really not a whole lot of defense, and you can see him catching some shots. They glanced off the cheekbone, but these last ones are hitting solid, and you see the towel come in from the corner, the referee immediately breaking it.
So Tito Ortiz in his debut out of Huntington Beach, California with the victory, and Joe Rogan standing by with our winner.
All right, I'm back here live with Tito. Tito, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
It just looked like there was nothing he could do to keep you from taking him to the ground.
No, too strong for him. Way too strong for him. Wasn't at my level, not at all.
Well, what are your thoughts about going into the main draw now?
That's all I've been expecting. I knew I'd blow through this. I just want to get to that next round. I want to be in the championship. Give me a chance, I'll win it.
You feel fresh? You feel healthy?
Feel healthy. Healthier than hell.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
All right, so that's a look at what transpired earlier tonight in the alternate bout, and that leads us to this of the Ultimate Force, the lightweight championship. Guy Mezger against Tito Ortiz, who replaces the injured Ensign Inoue, who upset Royce Alger. So try to follow that.
There's certainly a difficulty understanding why that ended up the way it did, but I'm looking at two people here I think could be in an even match. Guy Mezger, though, a wealth of experience in the octagon compared to Tito Ortiz, and that could basically help him through this fight, but at the same time, Mezger was pushed. He went the full 15 minutes against his earlier opponent, Albritton, earned the victory, Leninger, and earned the victory. However, he may have paid a physical price with it.
So this one's a Tank Abbott protege against a Shamrock disciple. Ortiz versus Mezger. We asked Guy how much he's improved his skills in the octagon.
I think probably the best part that I've added to what I do is the submission, the ability to do the submissions. I was always a pretty good striker. I think my boxing techniques improved over the last few years, which I think is an exceptional aspect of the fight game. My kicking has always been real good, but now I even kick more efficiently and more effectively, more powerfully, a little bit more conservatively than I did. But I think that'll work better for this style of fighting.
So this one will extend the rivalry between Tank and Shamrock. Guy Mezger going for the title. 22-2 as an amateur kickboxer, the former USAKC heavyweight kickboxing champion, the former WKKC, the World Karate Kickboxing Council heavyweight kickboxing champion, made a transition the past few years to submission fighting. His body has developed nicely, the natural transformation for an athlete. He's now 29 and he looks good, and now he's got his chance to prove his mettle.
This fight's going to be interesting. Ortiz is a wrestler. That would tend to give him the advantage for going for the takedown, but we saw Mezger is very difficult to take down, and if he can stop Ortiz from taking him down, Metzger's in the driver's seat, I believe, particularly with his boxing and punching skills.
He's tired of saying would've, could've, and should've, and now he has a chance to put up and shut up.
And you calling it just like this. It's not moving. And you get him. Okay?
Words of wisdom from Frank Shamrock, the provisional king of Pancrase. Metzger's opponent is Tito Ortiz, who expected to be here in the main bracket.
I wouldn't be here if not. I mean, an alternate fight, well, it's just one fight, but I expect to be in the tournament. I mean, that's how I see it happening, is for me to be in the tournament. I see, Leninger and Mezger, I see them fighting, and it being just a girl fight. That's exactly what's going to happen. I see that happening. I see one of them not wanting to fight Royce, which that's what I'm here for, step up.
Well, it wasn't exactly the way it unfolded, but he's there. And will he do what Steve Jennum did in UFC 3, come off the bench as an alternate and win a title? Tito Ortiz
Ortiz out of Huntington Beach, California. Got into the fight business a couple of years back when Tank Abbott needed a sparring partner. The rest of the local boys were too scared to take the job. Not Ortiz.
Once it gets from you, I'm going to tell you, let's get it on. You got any
I don't know if
questions
I
at all?
want to be a punching
Good
bag
luck to you.
for
Fight
Tank,
smart.
but certainly he has developed
Take
into
care
a
of him,
fine
all right? If
fighter.
it's time to submission, you
Great
watch
grappling
for him.
skills
Sometimes
combined
getting
with some
out.
good
Time to
finishing strikes. He looked very comfortable when he fought Albritton.
Paul Herrera in Tito Ortiz's corner. Here's the tell of the tape. Mezger 7 years older. Both are close to that 200-pound weight limit for the lightweights. Ortiz 6'2", Mezger 6'1". Let's go up to our Octagon announcer, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in the final bout of our lightweight tournament. This bout will determine the champion. Starting off with my fighter to the left. He's a submission fighter from the Lion's Den. Ranked number 2 in the world of the sport of pancrase. He now holds a 3-0 record in the UFC, standing 6 feet, 1 inch tall, and weighing in at 198 pounds. Please welcome from Dallas, Texas, Guy Mezger! And the fighter to my right, coming out of his alternate bout, winning by surrender in 1 minute and 31 seconds. He's a 2-time California state champion in wrestling. He stands 6 feet, 2 inches tall, and weighing in at 199 pounds. He's fighting out of Huntington Beach, California. Please welcome to the Octagon for the finals, Tito Ortiz!
Tito Ortiz is competing as an amateur, no prize money. He's a student at Golden West College, and therefore is just fighting because he loves it.
He's going to be a student at Cal Bakersfield, and he says, my number 1 goal is to get my education. His wrestling career provides that for him, and that's his number 2 goal.
Mezger has more experience in the Octagon. Let's see if that's a factor.
Similar body types. We both know they're in great shape. Question is, who's the better striker and who's going to get that first takedown? And Ortiz is throwing heavy leather, and it's Mezger who decides to take the shot.
He goes in on the single leg and eats a couple of elbows to his back.
Heads down and protected, doesn't have a clean shot at it. But Mezger's never going to be able to pick that leg up against Ortiz. He breaks the lock. See if he tries to get back to his feet.
A knee by Ortiz. Trying to sink the choke in, and a knee to the head of Mezger again.
Front headlock position, and Ortiz is doing a lot of good things here. He has an inside cradle on Mezger.
And a tap out, I thought Mezger was tapping.
It certainly looked like it.
Get up.
And John McCarthy steps in.
Come over here.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think John wants them to look.
He's got a cut on his head. Yep. One of the knees must have cut his head.
And John McCarthy summons
off your hands, man. You kick.
The doctors.
Put your head down. Don't put that on. It's going to make it worse. He's got one right in
on his head. Keep going, Guy.
Leon Tabbs is there, cut man.
He's got 2 of them.
Let me take a look.
Dr. Richard Istrigo and Dr. Joel Cooperman are there.
No, he did not tap. He's trying to block it. He's trying to block. I see what he's doing. He did not tap. You're doing good. If they're going to let it go, we're going to get going again.
Well, a very clear description by McCarthy. It did appear that his hand came down, but apparently it was in a block to prevent from being hit. But unfortunately, he absorbed a couple of big knees to the head, both of which seemed to cut. You heard the doctor say there's 2 of them. From a front headlock position, Mezger's head is down. He now goes into what we call an inside cradle. You see the head exposed out front. Bang, there's the first knee. Now he's going to follow it up again once Mezger's belly's out again. He'll come up and drive another knee down, and they both seem to cut the skull, but cuts aren't bad. They're going to continue to fight.
So you heard John McCarthy say that he did not tap, which I thought he was tapping. He was trying to ward off his opponent, and John's got much more experience than I do in that respect. And Mezger comes out throwing the right hand.
Big right hand. It seemed as though Ortiz controlled the striking from the feet early on. That's why Mezger took the shot, something we really haven't seen him do.
And now Ortiz goes in on a double leg.
And he's got it. But Metzger's got a shot at a guillotine choke here. He's got a shot at a guillotine choke.
That's what he's been working on at the Lion's Den.
And he's got it fair. He's tapping out, and Mezger caught him.
Mezger wins it.
Mezger caught him.
Oh, a tremendous medal Mezger showed there. The Shamrock camp is celebrating. Wow.
And it seemed as though Ortiz had control of that fight. And it was a double leg shot where he left his head exposed, much like when Ken Shamrock choked out Dan Severn. When you leave the head out there, it's exposed. And Mezger took full advantage of it. Never let it go once he sunk it, milked it, eventually choking out Ortiz.
And there's where the hours of training come in. And he has been working like a bandit. And there are the joys of a victory, right?
Or the spoils, one of the two.
To the winner go the spoils. So Mezger in a remarkable turnaround in a match that looked like it might have been stopped.
Double leg, but there you see him pop the head up. That's great technique in wrestling, but in fighting, that's an opportunity for trouble that Mezger secured, milked, got it real, real tight. And you can see him, he's not panicking. He's gonna go ahead and let his body go wherever Ortiz wants to go. He's not gonna stay flat, and he kept it sunk, and he had to tap out. Great technique by Mezger.
And there's the tap out.
How quickly things can change in a fight, particularly when you're talking about skilled fighters.
And you saw the chief medical advisor, Dr. Richard Istrigo, 1996 Amateur Boxing Physician of the Year, and Dr. Joel Cooperman out of Denver, and Leon Tabbs, who's worked with so many fighters over the years. They cleaned him up, they gave him a go, and he went in style. What a job. Joe Rogan.
I'm here live with the winner, Guy Mezger. Guy, congratulations on a tremendous display of heart and technique. I mean, you were obviously the guy that was the most tired coming into this. You had a grueling first fight, and he had an easy one, but you pulled it out. Phenomenal. How are you feeling right now?
Top of the world, man. I'll tell you. Yeah, it's hard to explain. I spent, Art Davies knows what I'm talking about. I met Art 3 years ago, had a desire to do this. Didn't know if I could, the time if I could win this thing, and I spent a lot of time training and everything, and Mr. Davies gave me another opportunity, and I'm real glad that turned out.
What were your thoughts coming into this fight when you knew you had such a tough earlier bout? Did you recover properly? Were you ready, or did you just gut it out?
Yeah, I mean, I trained hard. I was tired, but I came in and I was ready for this. I could train for 30 minutes. Yeah, Tito is really, 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 really tough guy. I give him a lot of credit, but he made a mistake, and I capitalized on it. So that's the way it goes.
Congratulations, incredible victory. We're here for the medal ceremony now. Art's going to present you with the championship gold medal.
Go back a long ways, my friend. UFC 4 and 5. I've been waiting almost 2 years now to hang a medal around your neck. And I'll tell you something. This victory tonight, it was everything I've always expected of you. Thank you, Guy. On behalf of the UFA, it's my pleasure to present you with this medal signifying that you've won this lightweight tournament tonight. Congratulations, Guy. It almost makes it worth cutting my ponytail off later.
Congratulations and good luck in the future.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Back to you guys.
Well, he dissed the ponytail, and he got a medal instead.
Well, certainly he did what he came here to do. He did it in grand fashion, really in a moment of adversity when he was cut, seemed to be overwhelmed by Ortiz, but he went back to skill, which is what this whole competition is about. This is not fighting in the street sense. This is where you need skill to be successful in the octagon.
And Jeff Mezger says that he's an above-average athlete with some great coaches mixed with personal determination.
I think that's a great way to go ahead and sum it up. Early on, he was in trouble. He absorbed a couple of big knees by Ortiz that cut him open pretty badly in the scalp.
And you saw that right hand, he was reaching out, and that's what we thought was
right there.
Yeah,
when he's doing that kind of thing there, he's just reaching out, watching out for that knee. And then later on, after the fighter said that he could continue, Ortiz came in sensing the kill, went to his bread and butter, which is his wrestling skills, but that perfect double leg also let Mezger put in a perfect choke. And Mezger able to cinch it tight, confident in the hold, getting the choke and the submission victory.
And there's the reaction. Trey Telligman, Frank Shamrock jumping on, the whole camp from the Lions Den celebrating the victory. And I know Bob Shamrock back home is also joyous about what he's just seen.
Oh, certainly he's got to be happy. Certainly the crowd reacted to that. That was a real good back and forth competition between those two good fighters. And certainly it was skill in the end again that determined the victor.
So we'll have to see what happens down the road, because Mezger and Bolander, our first lightweight tournament winner, are both out of the Lions Den. Well, our main event is coming up later tonight, and it will be David Tank Abbott against Vitor Belfort. Two guys who are so different, except for one thing, punching power. You've got the man who's always running from the law against the guy who wants to enforce it. The Tank and Vitor.
Well, certainly Tank's got big, powerful hands, but he's a slower man than Vitor Belfort. And Belfort now, with his boxing skills and certainly his Olympic aspirations, is really working hard to hone his boxing skills, which are going to be much quicker and sharper than the Tank's. But I would say Tank is still one dangerous man, because any one of his big bombs will take you out.
And the thing about Tank, he considers this the ultimate barroom brawl, because for the first time he believes someone will actually trade with him in the octagon. And when you talk about Tank Abbott, you talk about a fighter who is ferocious. Tank Abbott is one of the most feared fighters ever to enter the octagon. He's also one of the most charismatic. No one has captured the imagination of the fans like the bad boy brawler from Southern California. But the admiration is far from universal. There are plenty of fans and fighters who see Tank as a bully with no respect for the martial arts.
These people that want to see me get my ass kicked is because they themselves are pussies, and that's the way it goes. Fact of the matter is, I haven't got my ass kicked, and they have. So I don't pull out of fights. I don't cry and moan and challenge people. I go out there and do it.
Tank ferocious, landing blows. Nelmar can't see to throw a punch. The love or hate of the fans leaves Tank cold. He's in this for the sheer thrill of battle. Win, lose, or draw, Tank makes sure that no opponent leaves the octagon unscathed by his personal touch. Tank says if it weren't for the UFC, he'd be practicing his hobby on the streets. The octagon is merely the venue for Tank to do what he likes best.
I don't really care what these people think. If I cared what they, that would empower them, but to me, they're nothing more than a bunch of imps. These people that are in this, they're sport fighters, they're not fighters, Where were they before the octagon was around? A bar fight is a real fight. There's no rules involved in that, and you're fighting for your life.
That one is coming up a little bit later. You can see Tank's got plenty of supporters, and he's got plenty of guys that don't like him as well. Here's a look at the way the heavyweight tournament has unfolded tonight. Stephen Graham victorious against Dmitry Stepanov with a key lock submission at 1:30 and a subsequent tap out. And Randy Couture with a choke submission at 1 minute even. Let's go back to Stephen Graham's victory over Dmitry Stepanov.
Well, Graham was able to just close the distance right away. Stepanov let him get close enough, jumped right in there, lifted him up, slammed him, and you see that key lock right there, twisting the elbow, and Stepanov had to tap out. That or lose the arm. So tremendous rookie here.
Stephen Graham looking extremely strong thus far. He comes into this bout at 290 pounds,
And Jeff, he's a guy similar to Gary Goodrich, who had that awesome power, was an outstanding arm wrestler. This guy kind of fits that mold, an absolute gentleman, but very single-minded in terms of purpose in the ring.
Well, without a doubt, I would have to say that he has done a tremendous amount of development in a short time. Jim West, his trainer, well-renowned for his ability to get the most out of the people that he trained, and certainly with the body that Steve Graham has and his athleticism and how well he has trained that body, he is a monster at 290 pounds. He has plenty of power, and he's only going to continue to get better.
Randy Couture, he earned his spot here in the final with a very good move, some nice patience, and a victory by a choke.
Well, this was an amateur wrestler against a professional wrestler, and despite his boxing skills, Halme never had an opportunity to get off. He turned his back on Couture, which opened up an easy choke opportunity. Couture sunk that choke, cinched it tight, and Halme had to tap out.
So there is the matchup, Stephen Graham against Randy Couture for the title in the heavyweight division. Graham is an extension fighter, and Couture a Greco-Roman and freestyle wrestler. All right, Jeff, so there's our matchup. And here we go, getting ready for our heavyweight championship bout. Stephen Graham against Randy Couture. And it's the big man, 3D, coming to the octagon. Doom, destruction, despair. Stephen Graham, an extension fighter, 4-0 in Valley Tudo. And here is the thoughts of Jim West on Graham. He said, I've trained hundreds of martial artists, both in my school and in the special forces. I've seen guys from every style, but let me tell you, Steve is a prodigy. He has more natural talent than any athlete I've ever been around. The guy is gifted.
That's big statements from a trainer like Jim West. And certainly Graham made a big statement in his first fight, literally toying with Stepanov, slamming him down, and then going after a submission lock in which he just totally overpowered the Russian.
His discipline, known as extension fighting, it's whatever works, developed by West, a hybrid style combining the best of Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and karate.
Be sure that you keep that in your hand.
And here comes Randy Couture. Royce Alger did not fare well earlier tonight, but Couture has a chance to get a belt.
And Couture, an outstanding amateur wrestler. He is the current 1997 USA Wrestling Greco-Roman national champion at 214 pounds. He'll be looking to make a world team later this year, but on his mind right now is an ultimate fight against a very tough opponent named Graham, and he's going to rely on that wrestling ability to take his opponent down to the ground and try to control the position there.
23 years in wrestling. An opportunity to make a positive statement, he says, about wrestling. Three-time World Team Trials champion, Randy Couture. Here's a tale of the tape. Couture, 10 years, Graham senior. Graham's got the big weight advantage, 65 pounds. But he doesn't have the experience. And it's the South against the West. Here we go, Stephen Graham and Randy Couture. Bruce Buffer standing by with the introduction of our fighters.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final event that will determine the champion of the UFC 13 heavyweight tournament. Starting with the fighter to my left, representing the art of extension fighting. He stands 6 feet, 1 inch tall, and weighing in at 290 pounds. Fighting out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Steve 3D Graham. And the fighter, standing to my right, he's the 1997 USA National Champion in Greco-Roman Wrestling. He stands 6 feet, 1 inch tall, and weighing in at 225 pounds. Coming to us from Corvallis, Oregon, please welcome Randy Couture.
All right, so it's Graham and Couture.
Baby, this is it for the night. Are you ready?
Heavyweight tournament final.
Let's get it on.
They meet in the middle of the octagon. Both wearing black trunks. Couture goes in for a double leg. He's got Graham up against the fence of the octagon.
Couture will do a good job at keeping Graham down. The question is, does he have the experience to know how to finish? And particularly, I know he'll have the stamina to stay with this big man. But it looks as though here, Graham is going to be able to get back to his feet.
And Graham grabbing the right hand of Couture. Now Couture goes up top.
Well, he's preventing the choke. He's hanging onto the hand to keep the choke from being sunk in. You're not going to shake Couture doing that. The wrestler will stay behind you, even if it means going to his back.
Now Couture with an opportunity to strike. Graham is moving well for a big man, but Couture wraps him up again. Can he sink the choke?
There's no way that Graham is going to get off his back if Couture wants to just simply hold him there. And that's what he's able to do now. I'm sure he'll take a blow, regroup. He's got to watch his head, though. A knee from Graham right now can come up and strike him if he tries to pick that head up.
And there's a knee from Couture.
Work out there, Steve.
And a right hand to the head of Graham.
He's missing with those punches. It'll be interesting here how long Graham, will see what kind of endurance he has, can continue to struggle at this kind of a pace. This is a lightweight's pace, very fast, a lot of energy being expended. And once again, wrestling skill will keep Graham down, and Couture has plenty of that.
Couture with the side mount.
He can elbow right now in the ribs if he chooses to. Looks as though he's taking a little bit of a breather now. Then he'll look to go ahead and solve. Those kind of punches aren't going to do anything. Yeah, there's the elbow, but he waited a little too long and he telegraphed it with the punch. What he needs to do is get that arm over the top and see if he can't bait him into it.
And there's the quickness of Couture again. Graham tries to get to his feet. Couture pulls him down.
Well, this is a front headlock. The way you unbalance is to pull the man towards his nose and then spin. What Couture's looking for, again, is the choke. Won't get it here, but there's a nice little knee.
And that'll soften up his opponent.
Get out of there, Steve.
Couple more by Couture.
Get out of there.
Once again, he gets behind. He'll use his speed to outmaneuver Graham. And I think at this point here, Graham is also starting to feel tired.
And they headbutt each other, first front way, then backwards.
Work it out.
Here shows really how vulnerable Couture is. He really doesn't have anything else to go to here. He's looking really predominantly choked. Putting the leg in, he's going to try to stretch him.
He's a little bit high there.
Now he's okay with the legs, and he stretches him. Now he's got him down on the ground.
Okay.
Now he can go ahead and swat.
Elbow to the head by Couture. Now punches to the back of the head.
That's
McCarthy steps in.
That's going to do it.
That's it.
McCarthy stops the fight, and Couture wins it.
Good job.
He was taking some punishment there. I'm not sure whose blood that is on Couture.
Mutual respect there at the end.
But Randy Couture, using great grappling skill, takes him down, keeps him down, gets some good blows in, almost slipped the choke in as well, and it was too much for Stephen Graham.
He's a wrestling coach at the college level now, a three-time All-American at Oklahoma State, managed by Louis Enrico, Schiaparelli, and Bruce Holst. And he gets some congratulations from Big John McCarthy. Good effort by Randy Couture.
Great effort in his first time in the octagon.
Ladies and gentlemen,
a lot of poise.
A lot of poise.
UFC 13.
You said yesterday when we sat down and chatted with him, a big word, composure.
He was used to wrestling a guy named Michael Foy from Minnesota, who for 2 minutes was the most dangerous wrestler that could be. He could pick up anybody, but after 2 minutes, he ran out of gas. And Couture wrestled him a lot, and that's where he really learned his composure. Here, quick double leg to a trip, puts Graham down, and from this point, through most of the fight, Couture kept him on his back. His superior wrestling skill allowed him this, very well trained, and then from the front headlock position, a couple good knees to the head. You can see him trying to block to prevent those knees, but they got in there pretty well. And then using his maneuverability, again spinning behind, throwing the legs in, and once he stretched him out and got him soft, down on his belly and softened up, down came the blows. Graham was not defending himself, stopping those punches, and that is what happened. He had a tap out.
Let's go to Joe Rogan.
I'm here live with the champion, Randy Couture. Randy, congratulations. Another dominating performance on a guy who clearly outweighed you again.
Thank you. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. I felt great. Try to stick with my game plan, take him down, maintain position, relax on top, and wait for the opportunities. He was tough, very tough.
What was your strategy coming into the fight, knowing he's such a powerful guy, knowing what he did in the previous fight to his opponent?
Look for an opportunity to close and take him down. Once I got him on the mat, I felt comfortable. Side mount or mount. Force him to turn over if I could and look for the choke. That was my game plan, and it seemed to work.
Well, congratulations, man. You came into this fight, a first-timer, and you looked like a veteran. It's amazing. Yeah. I mean, you completely dominated in both your matches. What do you look forward to the future in the UFC? What are your plans?
I just wanted to represent wrestling really well, and I think my years of wrestling experience paid off. Look forward to the next fight. World Championships are in September in Greco. I try out for the world team in about 4 weeks. That's my next competition.
Well, congratulations, and here's Art Davey with your medal.
Randy, you were a late-minute addition to this fight, but I can tell you you're going to be a great addition to the world of reality combat. On behalf of the UFA, I want to say congratulations on winning this tournament tonight, and I'd like to present you with this medal symbolizing your great victory. Welcome to the UFC. Thank you. Great job, Randy.
Congratulations. Back to you guys.
Time now for another UFC flashback involving the Tank.
Ultimate 96, Birmingham, Alabama. Opening round action. Eager to make up for his loss to Big Scott Ferozzo at UFC 11, Tank Abbott returned with a focus we had never seen before. The Tank almost tossed Cal Worsham out of the octagon. Finally, he dropped him to the canvas. It resulted in a tap out in 2:52. Flash ahead to Judgment Day 97 and the debut of Vitor Belfort. First, he destroyed Trey Telligman in 1:18, and then he stopped Scott Ferozzo in just 52 seconds. Belfort established himself as the new Brazilian hero. Tonight, we'll flash to the present with these two warriors.
So we have one bout remaining, and it's the big one, the main event of the night. Two of the toughest strikers ever to step foot in the octagon. David Tank Abbott against Vitor Belfort. 15 minutes plus 2 3-minute overtimes possible here tonight. Tank comes in very focused. He's down to 270 pounds. He wants to turn it into a street brawl.
I come to kick ass. I don't come to dance around and do strategy. I come to fight. I don't see it as a grudge or a personal battle. Like I said, it's just another person, another body in there to fight. I've got a blanket policy of not really respecting anybody. Why give somebody respect? Why give them that kind of power? It's not in me.
Tank Abbott made a big return in Ultimate 96. He beat Cal Worsham. He knocked out Steve Nelmark, and then he lost in the finals to Don the Predator Fry. He's 6-4 in the octagon, but his losses are to the likes of Taktarov, Severn, and Fry. In his 5th UFC, could this be his own Judgment Day?
Tank isn't bothered by a loss. He likes to come in here and fight, and he wears it on his sleeve. He doesn't hold anything back. He's a crowd pleaser. This discipline is pit fighting. That's basically anything goes, street fighting type activities. He relies on his hands, and every time he's gone to the ground, he's been vulnerable, particularly when he's on his back.
Tank just wants to fight. He doesn't care at any level, whatever it might be, he'll just keep on fighting forever. His opponent is the young lion, 20-year-old Vitor Belfort, undefeated in the octagon. He approaches the Tank bout.
He's one of the best fighters in UFC, that's for sure. He's a dangerous fighter because he don't have nothing to lose. And I have everything to lose, you know? He have his skills, I have mine. We see which is gonna be the best Friday. I hope it'll be mine.
What a debut he made in Judgment Day, UFC 12 in February. He beat Shrink Television in a minute 18, Scott Barroso in 52 seconds. He got his first title. He is the heir apparent to the Brazilian greatness.
And he's really a step above what other Brazilians have done. Not only is he a consummate jiu-jitsu artist and practitioner, but he's also a lethal boxer. And that is something which he is going to exploit in an attempt to make the 2000 Olympic team for Brazil.
Trained by the legendary Carlson Gracie.
Good at takedowns. We've never seen him even have to go do it yet. Jiu-jitsu, being Brazilian, he's a master of submissions. However, the one ingredient and the only ingredient we've seen is his hand speed. Incredible punching power and quickness.
Here's the tail of the tape. Abbott 32, Belfort is only 20. Abbott the big guy at 270. Belfort is a sleek 215. And one from Huntington Beach, California, one from Rio de Janeiro. Here's Bruce Buffer.
And now, this is the main event of the evening. The fight that you've all been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, the UFC 13 Super Fight! Beginning with the fighter standing to my left. He's a veteran of the octagon, one of the biggest punchers ever to compete in this event. Standing 6 feet and weighing in at 270 pounds, he's the pit fighter from Huntington Beach, California. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome David Tank Abbott! And standing to my right, making his second appearance in the UFC, a disciple of Carlson Gracie and a 3-time jiu-jitsu champion of Brazil. He's undefeated in the octagon, fighting out of Rio de Janeiro and Hollywood, California. He stands 6 feet and weighs in at 215 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vitor Belfort!
Big John McCarthy, third man in the octagon.
Here we go, baby. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on!
Now we're underway. Tank against Vitor. Tank turned it into a street brawl. And Vitor chases Tank into the corner quickly. And grabs his arm. Good move by Tank. Belfort back to his feet.
Tank didn't want to go down. He wants to be up on his feet. That's the first time we saw Vitor look to go for a takedown. Left hand seemed to get into Tank's face.
Tank coached by Jesse Reed.
Oh boy, look at the hand speed.
Lands a right and a left. This time Tank goes down. Belfort continues to pop away. Tank can handle punishment, but that'll be enough. That will be enough.
Overwhelming. Overwhelming. Well, Tank has said about other losses, I go back to the hotel and have a drink. The guy who beat me has his through an IV in the hospital. Well, not this guy. Not this competitor.
Ladies and
Vitor Belfort is for real.
53 seconds of fury.
And Tank Abbott sought out Belfort to shake his hand.
And Abbott never does that.
He doesn't. I think he recognized the superior fighter there.
He does not ever walk away from a fight, but he was overmatched here. 53 seconds of fury.
Well, Belfort said training is the hardest part. The will to win isn't as important as the will to prepare to win. And he wants people to see
UFC 13.
This isn't months of training. This is years of training. And he dedicates everything he wins towards his entourage and coaches to prepare him for the next level. And I see nothing but the sky is the limit for this Brazilian.
Boxing trainer Al Stanky can be proud. This guy wants to box in the Olympics in the year 2000, representing Brazil. He was a great swimmer, a great soccer player, a great tennis player. I mean, I don't know what he can't do. Joe Rogan, you've got the floor.
I'm here live with Vitor Belfort. Victor, congratulations, an incredible performance. How are you feeling right now?
I feel very good. Thank you, everybody, come to the show. It's a great sport. Everybody like. I'm very happy.
What was your thoughts coming into this fight? Do you think it was going to be that quick?
My trainers know that. I'm really focused. I respect my opponents a lot. And, you know, fight is fight. You never know what's going to happen.
What was your strategy?
Beat the crap out of him.
Well, I think you succeeded in that. What?
First of all, I want to thank you, John, to help me a lot. And my trainers, they are really best than me. He's mine, Stanky, Carson, these three men. Over here. They are my trainers and my friends. We won. I want to thank you too, Robert Malviks. He's done a great job. And this sport gonna grow. If it depends on me, this sport gonna grow.
What would you, Vitor? What would you like to do now? What's your next goal?
My team decide what I'm gonna do. I just the product. I want to make money. That's all.
Congratulations on an amazing victory. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Okay. John. Come on, John. I want to thank John. He helped me in the beginning when I came to America. His men helped me a lot. I can't forget. And me and Carson, we come here 3 years ago, nobody, and we made it. That's our dream. And I can't forget my mama. She cooked for me. She stayed in my home. And also, everybody in the home right now, all my friends helped me train Alex, Rodrigo, Sergio, and Todd Medina. And my sister watch me now. I love you. Also my dad in Brazil and all my friends. I did it.
Congratulations, Vitor.
Gonna do it again.
Congratulations. Back to you guys. Congratulations.
He is working years, he says, not months, on everything. And this is a look back at the last event. And look at the power. And it happened pretty much the same way tonight against the Tank.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, his hand speed is just incredible. Tank could not lift up his head to see where he was without eating some of that little bit of leather in those padded gloves. Belfort is for real. Tremendous athlete. And you heard him. He wants this sport to grow, and he's willing to be the front runner in it. Of course, Mark Coleman might want something to say about that, as well as some of the other proven UFC fighters. But certainly, he's a rising star, someone that we are going to have to take very seriously as we watch him make his climb towards the top.
And Tank is not a member of the Quick Tap Club, but John McCarthy had to jump in and stop it.
And you didn't see Tank complain at all about John McCarthy's call. I think he knew he was outclassed. I mean, Belfort is just incredible. Just no one has had this type of speed in the UFC so far.
And he's got punching power to go with that speed.
Tremendous technique. Absolutely tremendous technique. He actually took Tank Abbott down to start this, so we saw that grappling-wise, he's very, very capable.
53 seconds was all it took tonight for Vitor Belfort to stop the Tank. Undefeated in the octagon, Belfort has clearly established himself as one of the greatest ever in the UFC. It's been a lot of fun tonight at the Augusta-Richmond County Civic Center in Augusta, Georgia. We've enjoyed our visit, and there were some outstanding stories and outstanding stars tonight. Randy Couture, first time ever in the UFC, and the wrestler looked terrific, winning the heavyweight tournament in 3:17 as the ref stopped the contest. Guy Mezger, training for several years, working with the Lions Den and coming away with the title.
And certainly he looked good, Mezger, having worked long and hard. That's a victory by Graham right there, who Couture would get out there and defeat. But Mezger looked great, and he is now undefeated still in the octagon, and he too has put years into his training so that he would be prepared to meet the top-level fighters.
Tank Abbott came to the octagon with a mission, but he ran into a buzzsaw in Vitor Belfort. What a fight it was. Domination by Vitor.
It was really a display of skills for the Brazilian. He went out there to show the world what he could do, and against a very dangerous, powerful puncher, he had no chance at all.
So for Jeff Blatnick and Joe Rogan, Bruce Beck saying good night from Augusta, Georgia.